Well, hello, and welcome back. This is SolderJS, and I am about to mod my Gamecube. But before I do, I want to dispel a myth that's otherwise hard to debunk about being able to hot swap backup disks. So this is the laser assembly unit that does not have a mod chip on it. So if I zoom in there, you can see there's that bad boy right there, the gold contacts. That's where the mod chip goes. And then over here, this bad boy that looks like it's got almost a weird screw in it, that's the laser sensitivity adjustment potentiometer. So they are at, well, there's no mod chip, and the potentiometer is at its original value right now. So I am going to just slide this in. Now, luckily, this older system here has a hard switch on it. You can't do this with modern computer systems, but this one actually has a hard power switch. So the power is cut off when the switch is off. It's not a soft off. So that's why I'm okay doing this with this still plugged in. Technically, I probably should unplug the HDMI because I don't know if power comes back the reverse way. I think in the spec it can. That aside, now I'm going to turn this on just like in the original video, which I've linked to, with Super Mario Sunshine, and we're going to see it spin up. Notice the position of the laser. Well, you can't see in the video, but it's gone out to the middle, and then went out to the end, and then it came back into the middle. So the laser is positioned in the middle right now. Now it's out at the end. So it's important to note the way the laser moves because it moves differently when there's an authentic disk versus a non-authentic disk. So the guy in the video tells us that we're going to go to the game. We're gonna go into the save menu and then start. And this is when we're going to pop the cover. So right now I have a piece of packing tape on there because that works a little bit better than Scotch tape. And I'm going to release this so that it says the cover is open. Okay, now I'm going to do what he suggests. I'm going to take this out and I'm going to put in my clear plastic disc, which he says is necessary. Now note, this is not going to spin. There's no difference between putting a clear plastic disc in here and putting nothing in here. I'll show that to you in just a second, but we'll do it exactly the way that he shows first. So there you can see the disc doesn't even start to spin, okay? So it's not registered as a disc. All right, now it says, please insert a Super Mario Sunshine game disc. All right, but we're not. We're gonna swap it out for our backup copy of Mario Kart. So here we are. And then notice the error message that's going to come up here. First of all, it can't even read that disk because it's a burn disk, but it can't read any unauthentic disk without having a patch to the DVD reader to put it in some sort of debug mode. So it says the same error message again. Now here's the kicker. If I instead put on, not Super Mario Sunshine, we're going to put on Zelda, which is an authentic title. If I put that on instead, we're going to get the error message that he shows in his video, which is the error message you get when you insert an authentic disk that is not the correct disk. This disk is not Super Mario Sunshine. Please insert a Super Mario Sunshine game disk. Okay, now we've done that. We've gotten to the correct error message. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in, although I know that it's not going to work. And I'm going to hit reset. Now note what happens when I hit reset. Reset is software controlled, not hardware controlled. So whatever software was loaded on the Mario Sunshine disk, that's the software that's handling the reset. But the BIOS system has already informed that software that the disk has been removed. So it is in a state where it knows that there's not the correct disk in there. So when we hit reset, instead of doing a normal soft reset, it goes to the BIOS reset. Now from here, everything that was in memory before is gone. So the whole notion that it knew there was an authentic disk in there, because it did a hard reset rather than a soft reset, that information is gone. So there's no way that from the BIOS it could boot up into the working system. I believe it's potentially possible there could be an exploit where you have a specially crafted CD that's matched to a game, that you do something where you know what the game is going to load and it loads a hacked version. But I know of no such exploit, and this is certainly not the case now. Because I know that my drive can't read burn disks anyway at its default factory setting, at least none of the brands that I tried, which I've tried 3 of them. I'm going to go ahead and power this off, and I'm going to adjust the potentiometer so that the default value that mine is set at is 460 ohms, and I'm going to adjust it to closer to 150 ohms. That's where it seems to read burn disks really well. Remember, this isn't actually adjusting the power, it's adjusting sensitivity. So you can't really see how slight you move this thing. But I'm going to give it, let's see, that's probably 200 or 300 ohms. I just turned it. That was a very small amount. I won't be surprised if it's even more than that. Let me get out my trusty, not so rusty, handy dandy multimeter. And what I'm measuring, notice the orientation. Oh, you can't see. Let me try to move that up a little bit. You're just going to have a hard time. Sorry. Maybe I'll zoom in post. So I'm going to touch the left contact and the right contact, and you can't see, but it is registering. Let's see. Nope. I'm not touching it properly. Okay. 137. So I got it right on the money by accident. I'm going to adjust it just a touch higher. 137 is going to work fine, I know, because I've done lower. But I want to see if I can get it right around 150, because I'm not expert enough to know exactly what the consequences of over-adjusting this are. And I know that it will work at a slightly higher value with all my burn disks. So I will adjust it to a slightly higher value. Okay, 160. I think that that value is going to work, and we can test that it will, because I do have a hacked memory card in here. So I'll just go ahead and test real quick that I actually can see burn disks by first putting in Wind Waker. There we are. All right, exploit has taken over. And now I'm going to eject and then switch over to DVD. And I don't know if this is necessary anymore because now Swiss has taken over the DVD controls, but I like to use the button anyway. So now I've got Mario Kart in there, which before was not readable. And I should have pointed out the way you could tell by the way the laser moves. The laser pretty much only goes doot doot right there and then turns off, whereas when it's a real game disc, it'll go back and forth a few more times, or when it can read it rather. Oh, and yeah, so I'm going to press A. It's going to try to read the drive. So it tries real quick, and then it says, this is not an authentic drive. I'm going to run enabling patches there, you can see. And hopefully the value, oh good. So sometimes if you get the value wrong, it'll just try again and again and again. Like if the value is, if the ohms are set too high, it tries again and again and again. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it fails, and sometimes it crashes in the middle of loading, that sort of thing. So you really do want to get the value pretty low. And you don't have to worry about taking it to 0. Even if you take it to 0, there's a resistor that is in line or in series with that resistor. So the minimum resistance is always 150 ohms, even if you hit 0 on the potentiometer. And each device is a little bit different. Some devices come from the factory reading burnt disks just fine. It's not a matter of whether the disk is new or old, it's just random. Anyway, so here we are. I've proven that this disk can be read now. So we'll go through the same process. I'll turn this off. I'll put back in Super Mario Sunshine. I'll turn it back on, and we'll do everything by the book. We'll see that it doesn't work. Anyway, you know, maybe kind of a waste of time to revisit an old hack, but I figure few people are in a situation to be able to verify that it's not just a matter of whether or not it was a good or bad burn, or if the potentiometer was set correctly in the factory, or blah, 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 blah. So I wanted to take the opportunity to show that it is a hoax, it doesn't work, and I'm highly suspicious that I call it a hoax because I'm highly suspicious that the author of the video didn't know that the game was modded. I don't think, I mean, 90% of the work in modding one of these is just taking out the screws. There's a million screws. They're very easy to take out, but there's just a ton of them. And I don't think anybody that go through the effort of taking the top off wouldn't then go through the effort of taking the screws off and then just putting the mod chip on there, which is very easy, and adjusting the potentiometer, which is very easy. So anyway, here we are. I'm going to open the cover. I'm going to swap out for the clear disk, which does nothing because it doesn't even spin. It's exactly the same as if we didn't put anything in there. I'm going to put in our burned disk that we know from what we just saw works. So there's our Mario Kart burned disk, and we're going to see that it gives not the error message that it gives when it can read the disk, but the error message that it gives when it cannot read the disk, which is insert a Super Mario Sunshine game disk, and then when we restart it, goes back to the BIOS, does not load. Well, there we are. Myth debunked. I am so sad and sorry, but you cannot hot swap games. By the way, you could do this on the original PlayStation, which is probably why the author thought that it would be credible if he created this video showing the system booting. And again, like I'm being a little harsh. I don't know for certain that he didn't know that the GameCube that he bought on eBay was modded. But if the person went through the trouble to change the LED from orange to blue, you know, they'd opened up the case. I have a hard time believing that he didn't know that he had a modded system. Anyway, that's that. Thanks for watching. If you didn't like this video, thumbs down it. Otherwise, give it a thumbs up because you made it to the end, right? Feel free to subscribe. I do stuff all the way from little hardware hacks to game mawutsits and programming stuff. So feel free to subscribe if nerdiness is up your alley, and have a great day.